In today's show, the entrepreneur's secret weapon, you listed, if I got this right, Ryan, in my notes here, that there were, I think, four things, and hopefully I didn't miss any. Morning routine being one, of course, the morning upgrade part of that. Yep. Mindset, exercise, and then personal development. And the personal development, you talked about family and work. Did I miss anything?
Well, and actually, it's funny, we were talking about before about not beating yourself up. There's a chapter on getting it right 80% of the time, because I've been having my own brothers. Like my one brother was like, I listened to your podcast, but it stresses me out listening to these long routines. And I just don't think I could ever do that. And I was like, I don't do that. I have a short routine. Some of my guests have short routines. You have to find what works best for you. That's the thing. Like, don't stress out over it. It's just a morning routine. We're not, it's nothing serious. Just find out what works best for you. And then my other brother was like, doesn't it stress you out always trying to get like 1% better and all that? Like, don't you ever just relax? I'm like, I am very relaxed. I actually have a lot of fun too.
In today's ultra-competitive business world, being a successful entrepreneur or business owner can be very challenging. Fortunately, contemporary times have blessed us with resources for tackling those challenges and getting us to success more quickly than we could have imagined. Welcome to The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan, a podcast that explores how the world's most powerful entrepreneurs grow incredible companies. This podcast looks at the 5 keys to unlocking success as an entrepreneur. A successful educator turned entrepreneur, Jason's mission is to use his gifts of teaching and leadership to help others get the results they want out of life. Join Jason every week and learn the keys to grow a truly successful business.
Welcome back to The Root of All Success with me, the real Jason Duncan. Thank you for taking time to listen today. I've got a great guest for you today. His name is Ryan Cote. And Ryan is the founder of a business called Morning Upgrade. And it's a business dedicated to raising awareness of personal development and morning routines. And for those of you that know me a little bit, you know that I'm not a routine person. And so I was interested to talk to Ryan about what he means by that. And is he one of these guys that's militant about routines? And if you don't do it, you're a terrible human being. Well, I want you to listen today and hear how we talked through that. He's also the co-owner of a company called Ballantine. It's a third generation family owned business that does marketing, digital marketing, print marketing, direct mail marketing, and also has a roofing company, which is interesting. And as a matter of fact, I don't even think we talk about that in the show today, but we do talk about the marketing part of it. He lives in New Jersey with his wife and his 3 little girls that are 11, 9, and 7. And you'll find today, as you listen to Ryan on the show, on The Root of All Success, you'll find that he is one of the most reasonable guys you could talk to. Like he has his idea about what morning routines should be and what your morning upgrade should be, but he's very reasonable about it. He has his own podcast called the Morning Upgrade Podcast, which you can find on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere else, just where you listen to podcasts, wherever you listen to those. Make sure you tune in on that. And then he also has a book called The Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon, which we'll talk a little bit about on the show today, The Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon. So go check that out. But let's go ahead and get into the show today. This is The Root of All Success, and please help me welcome Ryan Cote to the show. Ryan, welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to be able to talk with you today. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Hey, Jason. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Let's do it.
Well, all the way from New Jersey. So I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. You're in New Jersey. Have you always lived in New Jersey?
Yeah, my whole life, except for college. Went to Pennsylvania, University of Scranton for 4 years. Almost moved down to North Carolina with my wife before we had kids, but that was many years ago. And now we're deeply rooted in New Jersey, at least for the time being.
I don't think I've ever been to New Jersey. I don't
Really?
think. I traveled back in the early 90s, mid 90s. I went up to Woodstock, Saugerties, New York area for the 25th anniversary of Woodstock. Remember that?
Yes.
I don't know if you remember 1990, it was 94, I think was the 25th anniversary. So we did a road trip, a friend of mine and I did a road trip and we drove through all the states going up there, and went through Pennsylvania, and we stayed in, is it Matamoros, Pennsylvania? Is that kind of on the Delaware border somewhere around there? I don't know.
Not familiar with that area. I just know like the
But anyway,
Poconos.
and then went into New York. And what surprised me about that part of the country, because I'm from the South, I'm from Nashville, born and raised, and I never, like my perception of New York and New Jersey and that is like complete like concrete cityscapes, tall buildings, and no greenery. And so when I got to New York, I was driving through, I wouldn't say upstate, I don't know where Saugerties is, but it was not at all that. It was green grass and rolling hills and mountains and cows. And I thought, this is not, like, I've been lied to my whole life. So what's it like in New Jersey where you live? Is it city, country? What is it?
I'm like kind of in the country, the suburbs. That's the thing about New Jersey. I mean, I suppose it's not a place you really vacation to. I guess you could argue you could vacation to the Jersey Shore, but New Jersey has got, there's like the real city-like part of New Jersey. There's the suburbs with a lot of, like, I've got a window right here, a lot of green grass and all that stuff, houses, and there's the shore, there's farmland, and so it's a pretty big state. And so depending on where you are, there's actually a lot to. I know Jersey gets bad rap from that damn show Jersey Shore, but there's a lot to do here. And plus, I'm like 30 minutes from New York City. Not that we take advantage of that very often, but I can get into the city, which is a whole nother animal, very quickly.
Well, one of my vice presidents of one of the companies, she's from New Jersey, and she moved to Nashville to get married, and they've been here, I guess 8, 9, maybe almost 10 years, but she goes back, her family still lives there, and she goes back a lot. And so that's my only connection to New Jersey. So welcome to the Root of All Success, all the way from
Awesome.
New Jersey via Zoom. I'm glad that you're here. So this show, of course, as you know, which is why we booked you on the show, is I talk to very successful entrepreneurs about how they became successful, their secrets, and what they did to do it, what their stories were like. So if you think back, Ryan, to the beginnings of your entrepreneurship, that might be as a kid, I don't know your story yet. We're going to find out together today with my listeners. But when did you first realize or get into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So first off, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So Ballantine is a family business. I'm third generation. That's the marketing agency. Now it's spun off into like roofing, but it's random, but there's a story there. So, I mean, it's all I really knew. Like, my father had his own business. Well, my great uncle started the company. Then my grandfather went in 68, my dad in 78. And so, it's all my dad owning his own business, my uncle being in it. It's kind of what I knew, like summer breaks, I would go to work at the marketing agency and just do like, data entry type stuff. And so I worked in the business during my breaks. And so, like, owning your own business, it wasn't like a foreign concept to me because it's what my dad did and my uncle and my grandfather. And so I kind of just heard the stories and all that. That said, I guess for me, college, really, I think, if I think back to I think in high school too, I was like trying to create things. But even when I go back to college, I was like selling things on eBay. I started creating my own e-commerce sites, sold one eventually. A bunch didn't work out, some did. I got very much into affiliate marketing, did very well with that for a few years. And then I created my own service business. And then I created a new division in Ballantine Digital, because it used to be just print. So it was kind of just a process of trying different things. But I've always gravitated towards starting my own thing, creating it. I like creating things. And it started really like high school and college. I mean, I think back when I graduated high school, and I'll take a break after this. When I graduated high school, had my first job in college, I would wake up 5 o'clock in the morning to work on like different websites before I went to my job. And so it's always been in me.
So you having that third generation business ownership probably groomed you for understanding what it means to talk about business and business focus. So you're involved in the marketing agency and the family business now, but you also do your own stuff, right? So when did you break out? Was the eBay thing kind of your first, I'm doing this on my own, or was it the affiliate marketing? What was your first deal kind of away from the family business?
Yeah, I've always had little side things, actually. I enjoy it. And so it's not work to me. I would say eBay was the first thing. I mean, I'm hesitating because I hesitate telling the story, but I remember like even before the eBay thing, and this is like going back years and years, this is when it was kind of like the wild, wild west of what you can sell online. And I remember buying ephedrine, like the diet weight loss powder.
Yeah, I remember that.
Creating my own pills with it. This is like, I don't know if I should be sharing this, but it was illegal, but creating my own pills with it and then selling it online, and people actually were selling it. And so it was always, that was on eBay actually, but then I sold other things too. So yeah, I would say eBay was the first, my first entree into like trying to sell things to other people.
So what year was that approximately?
That was like, I graduated high school in 97. It was like 98. I even tried selling vitamins at my college. I used to put posters up by the cafeteria saying that the cafeteria food is not going to give you the nutrition that you need. You need to buy vitamins. You need to take vitamins too. And then that went away because the school called me into their office, told me I can't be bashing the cafeteria food and to take all my posters down.
So did they say you're wrong, or did they say you can't talk about us badly? Because there's a difference. Because if they didn't agree that you're wrong, they're just saying, hey man, we can't take the bad press.
You can't talk about me badly. You can't talk about the food like that.
So you're kind of very creative guy. I can see like that, and that's one of the hallmarks of an entrepreneur is that ability to innovate, to think things through that other people don't. And that really, I think, and I'm going to be interested in your opinion on this, because you grew up in you're a third generation business owner with Ballantine, but there's a difference between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a business owner. I agree with you on the entrepreneur front. You have to, because you're always tackling different problems. So you have to be creative in how you solve the problem. You have to have a persistent attitude, and just be consistent with your actions just to work through problems and work through the daily challenges. But a business owner can be anything. It could be someone that owns a business, but they're not part of the business. They're kind of just whatever, investing into it and just they own it, but they don't actually run it. And so I feel like I agree with you. I think the entrepreneur, I think the biggest difference is the attitude, the mindset, the creativity, and their willingness to keep pushing through even when you're getting, punched in the face.
Yeah. And what's interesting about you, people like you in terms of, and what I mean by that is growing up in an entrepreneurial business ownership family where it's generational, grandfather, father, and then to you, a lot of times by the time it gets to the third generation, they're just running a business. There's not a lot of entrepreneurial spark. It's just, this is what we do. It's my job. And they would be performing well if they were an employee of someone else's business as much as they're performing. But it seems to me like you're not that guy. Like you actually have the entrepreneur bug and you've gone out and done some pretty cool stuff. So what are you, and this is what I don't know yet, but so with Ballantine versus everything else you got going with Morning Upgrade, like how much time are you dedicating to the family business versus your own stuff?
I mean, the family business definitely takes up majority of my time. That's like my day job, if you want to use that word, just for lack of a better description. It's like, what I spend most of my time on. At nighttime, I work on my own stuff. And I have other things going on besides Morning Upgrade, but, and I've got a family too. So I try to carve out my time just to, but when you enjoy what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And so even when I'm on my computer, like doing stuff, it doesn't feel like work to me. I have to be conscious of the fact that I've got kids and that I can't be so focused on my screen all the time. That's been something I've been working on, and I feel like I'm doing better at it. But yeah, Ballantine is definitely the roofing business. I don't spend a lot of time on. That's my brother Scott's thing. I do a little bit of stuff, but it's really the marketing agency where I spend most of my time on.
And you said that Ballantine started as a print marketing agency, but you were the person to kind of usher in the digital stuff. So what was kind of the first thing you guys did to get into the digital space?
Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, we started out as direct mail. We still do a tremendous amount of direct mail for very large companies that do a lot of mail. But the digital, we started out doing SEO because that's search engine optimization. That's what I know best. And back then, I was still like the marketing person for Ballantine, but I was also running the digital, trying to grow it, acting like it was a bigger company. Really, it was just me doing the work. And so we started off doing SEO, search engine optimization, added in pay-per-click, like Google Ads a little bit. And then my brother Scott joined the company in 2014. And that's when things started. Because then I had someone to strategize with and work with, because I was kind of just by myself trying to grow the digital because I knew it best. And there was no one else in the company that could do the role, And so once Scott came on board, that's when we started to get bigger clients, hire employees, and then it's just been an evolution since then.
How many employees are with Ballantine now on the marketing side?
There's 18 of us right now. It's still a small business. Yeah. 18.
Yeah. Well, that's plenty. I mean, when you get over 20 employees, I know a lot of listeners will know this. When you get over 20, man, things start changing. There's a weird transition in business when you get over 20 employees. And I've watched it happen in my businesses because, you have, as the founder, or in your case, as the one running things, as, part of the founding family, you have almost complete control over the culture and how things go on a day-to-day basis. But once you get over 20, it starts taking a kind of its own, it becomes its own thing. And one of my companies got up to, I think, 37 employees once, and it was insane. Like, what the heck has happened to my company? It's crazy. Not necessarily bad. There were bad parts of it, but it was like, ooh, and we got it back down. And then I think we're mid-20s now, but it's interesting. So what are you doing with Morning Upgrade? When did that tell everybody what Morning Upgrade is first, then we'll talk about the details around it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Morning Upgrade started in the heat of COVID, April of 2020. I've always been into personal growth, personal development. I really honestly think it's a necessity for entrepreneurs because a lot of it's like a head game and just trying to make yourself stronger. One of my guests in my podcast, he describes like his morning routine and personal development as like his mental armor. And so I'm fully bought into that. But I've always gravitated towards it, and I was writing about it on LinkedIn. And then I was like, I should create a brand out of this and try to reach more people and help more people and just kind of see where it takes me. I don't really have a super concrete agenda. Maybe I'll create a mastermind one day. But right now I'm just building the brand, building the audience. And so it started out as a blog, and then I created a podcast, had to learn that whole process, wrote a book, and just, created a morning routine product and just kind of have been evolving it since then. I don't know where it's going to take me, but it's a journey that I'm really passionate about, and I'm enjoying the ride.
So what does Morning Upgrade mean? I mean, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, morning upgrades. I'm a big fan of morning routines. For me, that's like my pillar habit, and so the tagline, upgrade your morning, upgrade your life. And so I start my day with a specific series of tasks, and that sets my day up for success, and so, and the brand is more about, it's not just about morning routines, it's about personal development too. So my mission is to raise the awareness of personal development and morning routines, and to meet interesting people like you. And so it's my impact project, I guess you can say, because someone listens to a podcast, they're going to learn new things, they're going to learn something. And so it's just my way of just doing my part to help people. So
I'm gonna dive into this tentatively because we don't know each other. So we don't know. So I don't really know. We don't know how each other are going to respond when we get pushed on a little bit. But okay. So I'm not a routine person at all. Like I don't. As a matter of fact, they work against me. So when you say morning routine and you said I got a specific list of tasks that you complete every day, my question for you would be, what happens on days when you don't complete a couple of tasks? Like, tell me what happens throughout the day for you.
Yeah. So I would say I'm fairly routine driven, but not super. I'm pretty flexible myself. Like, I exercise every day and I do my morning routine most days. And so for me, like, my mornings, it's quick. It's not I've had some guests that have like 3-hour militant, and that works best for them. My routine is like a quick 30-minute. I read a couple of pages. I got a book to my right here. I read a couple of pages. I journal a little bit, gratitude practice, exercise, pull-ups for 5 minutes and things like that. So I've got a quick 30-minute routine that checks off a lot of boxes for me. When I don't do it, because there's been times where I would go on vacation, we just went to Alaska, and that was a cruise. I just couldn't do my morning routine because it's a tight little cabin. And what happens to me if I'm not doing my morning routine religiously is I get into a funk. I just kind of feel blah. I feel unmotivated. I can't describe it, but it's real. I feel it, and we're all wired differently, right? So, but that's what happens to me. It just puts me in a funk.
Well, I'm glad that you were honest about that, and I appreciate you sharing that, because as a business coach, when I teach and coach my clients, one of the things I talk about is rhythm versus routine, and a routine, as you're describing it, helps millions and millions of people around the world. And I think a lot of people are wired that way. And I appreciate you saying that we're all wired different, because I agree. I think you're wired a certain way to make you successful. And when you operate within your wiring, you have a higher odds and probability of being successful, which you have been, which is fantastic. And for me, I think that a lot of times you hear people that are saying things like you're saying, but they say it legalistically. You have to do a morning routine. You have to. And if you don't, you're going to be terrible. Well, so when I coach my clients, I'm like, hey, man, maybe you're a rhythm person, and rhythms and routines are a little different. Like rhythm is just the natural beat to which life moves. So there are certain things I do on a regular day that you might call my morning routine, but I just call it my morning rhythms. Like I get up and I go ride my bicycle for a little while. I come sit on the back porch and have a cup of coffee and go through my prayer journals. I do that type of thing. But if I don't do it, I don't get in a funk because it's not a routine for me. It's like, okay, that I should have done it, but didn't do it. I'm okay with that. Does that make sense? Any of that make sense?
No, it does. Actually, you're making me think like that's a blog post potentially, rhythm versus routine. I do like it. I'm pretty lenient with myself, but if I go a prolonged period of time without the morning routine, like 3+ days, that's when I can feel the funk starting to form. But I'm not like, if I miss a day, I'm not like, you idiot, I don't like beat myself up because life is life,
What do you do? But do you think though that this 5 a.m. club mentality that's out there right now is doing as much help as it's intended to do, or is it harming people? And I'll soften the question by saying I particularly believe that it's doing a lot more there's unintended consequences there, because so many entrepreneurs that I coach feel guilty that they are not getting up at 5 and they don't do these things. And I'm like, dude, it's okay. You don't have to do that. It's all right. But you seem like a reasonable guy. Like you're the morning upgrade. You should do these things. These are great for you, but it's okay if you're wired different. And I read so many gurus on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, like, you got to do it. If you don't get up at 5, you're a loser. You're never going to be a millionaire. So what do you think about that?
I mean, I try to get it right 80% of the time. So I can't be that militant myself where I'm perfect. And I understand the all or nothing mentality. Like if you're trying to give up junk food, it's easier to give up junk food altogether than say, oh, sometimes I'll eat it, sometimes I won't, because it's slippery slope. But to me, I think you need to find out what works best for you. Like I can't get up at 5 a.m. That is not happening. I wake up at a reasonable time, 6:30, and I get my routine in. I think the biggest thing with the 5 a.m., two things came to mind when you're asking me that. For me, it's not the fact of getting up at 5 a.m. and all that stuff. It's more about like the person that you're becoming. So if you're getting up at 5 a.m. and you're investing in yourself, you're changing your identity, you're changing your mindset. Like you're becoming a person that invests in themselves. And I think that has a trickle effect into other areas of your life. I think that's the biggest thing for me with the morning routines. Is the biggest benefit is that you're changing your identity, that you're the person that invests in yourself. Yes, you're doing gratitude practice. That's all important, but you're also changing your identity to become that person. But I think you also need to have self-care and compassion for yourself, like where you're not perfect. You can't beat yourself up. You have to recognize your wins. You have to be grateful and all of that. So I think it is a slippery slope, because sometimes people get so focused on, I've got to get better, 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 better. And meanwhile, they're not really present as to what they've accomplished, and they're not present in their daily life. And it's a slippery slope of always focusing on the future and not living in the present. Not sure if that makes sense, but
no, I think it's awesome. And I'm surprised that we got into this today, although probably shouldn't have been, because you wrote a book called Morning Upgrade and it's all about morning routines. But I remember two particular clients I was coaching just within the last 6 months. And they were in two different coaching groups, so they didn't influence one another in their perspective. But I remember when I part of my coaching platform, I actually take about 15 minutes of an 8-session coaching cohort. There's only 15 minutes in one little spot where I talk about the difference between rhythm and routine, and both these people were like, you have no idea how free that makes me, because I felt guilty this whole time that I wasn't doing all this stuff. And it encouraged me. I actually wanted to go and write a little PDF called Rhythm versus Routine. It's very simple. It's just like, here's what a rhythm is and what a routine is. If you're a routine person, these are the things you like and do, and this is your rhythm. And then of course I put my spin on it at the end of it. It's like, I'm a rhythm guy, and I would prefer a rhythm over routines. But so talk about Morning Upgrade just in general. What are you teaching in that book and I know you talk about it on your podcast, the Morning Upgrade podcast, but what in the book are you teaching entrepreneurs or leaders or anybody to do?
Yeah, so my book, it's called The Entrepreneur Secret Weapon: How to Use Personal Development and Morning Routines to Upgrade Your Life and Business. I will admit, it's probably nothing new. I mean, like I'm learning from other people, and then I'm just basically compiling what I've learned and what's helped me into a little handbook, 112-page handbook, if you want to call it that, with what I've learned and what's and different strategies. And so I'll go over obviously morning routine, of course, go over mindset, exercise, health and fitness, incorporating personal development into your workplace, incorporating personal development into your family. And so just all the things that have helped me. And it's like a collection of tips and strategies where people could just pick from, and there's a lot of takeaways, hopefully. So, but I'll admit, there's like if you read the Miracle Morning, if you listen to podcasts like this, and it's probably stuff that you haven't heard before. It's stuff that you have heard before, but it's all compiled into a handbook through my lens, through my experience, through my lens, and I try to give as much tips as possible.
So give the name of the book again. So I want to make sure everybody heard that.
It's called The Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon. It's on Amazon.
The Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon.
Yeah, and basically, the secret weapon is personal development, morning routines and personal development.
Well, so I'm making notes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm looking down, and I'm not being rude. I'm not looking at my phone, but I'm making notes because the Entrepreneur's Secret Weapon, you listed, if I got this right, Ryan, in my notes here, that there were, I think, 4 things, and hopefully I didn't miss any. Morning routine being one, of course, the morning upgrade part of that. Yep. Mindset, exercise, and then personal development. And the personal development, you talked about family and work. Did I miss anything?
Well, and actually, it's funny, we were talking about before about not beating yourself up. There's a chapter on getting it right 80% of the time, because I've been having my own brothers. Like my one brother was like, I listened to your podcast, but it stresses me out listening to these long routines. And I just don't think I could ever do that. And I was like, I don't do that. I have a short routine. Some of my guests have short routines. You have to find what works best for you. That's the thing. Like, don't stress out over it. It's just a morning routine. We're not, it's nothing serious. Just find out what works best for you. And then my other brother was like, doesn't it stress you out always trying to get like 1% better and all that? Like, don't you ever just relax? I'm like, I am very relaxed. I actually have a lot of fun too. I just am bought into like that personal growth is very important. And I'm just trying to make more right decisions than bad decisions and keep involving myself and learning new things. To me, it's like a fun game. And so I think you just, it's I don't know, it's fun. It's fun.
We're going to take a break from our show right now to bring you our sponsors. All right. Thanks for listening to our sponsors. Now back to the show. You are, Ryan, probably one of the most reasonable dudes I've had on the show in a long time, because, you have a pretty strong belief about how you think things should go. But you couch it in a way like, listen, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. It's all good. And I think the world needs more of that. And what's sad is that social media doesn't reward that, because I feel like I'm kind of like you. I have very strong beliefs in how things should go. But at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. If it's not for you, don't do it. But social media doesn't reward people like you and me. They reward the guys that say, listen here, you son of a, you got to do this, or you're an idiot, or you're a beep. There's lots of beeps and blurbs and like, that's not me. And that doesn't sound like you either. Am I reading you right?
You're reading me very right. I think it's because polarizing can be a good thing, I guess, for social media, because I guess you get a better following. I can't stand social media. I mean, I have accounts on it. It's part of my business too, but I just, I don't really like being on it. And so I think too, as I get older, I'm 43 right now. I got 3 kids, 11, 9, and 7. So things are getting real fast. I think fun is important. Like I work a lot, but I also like to have fun. We go out with our friends, have a late night, and just try to have fun. We go on road trips and just try to see a lot of things. Just got back from Alaska and Washington State, worked a little bit while I was there, but also had a lot of fun. So I think fun and what do I want my life to look like as I get older? Like, those are things that are top of mind now. Maybe because I'm getting older and stuff, I'm just thinking about this stuff more. It can't always be like work. Though that's important. You need to work hard. But I think that fun part of it needs to be there. Otherwise, to me, like, what's the point? And that's becoming more and more obvious to me as I get older.
I think you're 100% right. I think so many entrepreneurs, they have that in their mind that their job is to go and work their asses off for whatever period of time it takes. They work with a hopefully one day there's this payoff, and then they can take time off and they can finally do things. But I'm of the mind, and that's my entire coaching program is based on, you can live the exit lifestyle right now. You don't have to wait if you design your life the right way. It's lifestyle design. So if you're designing a business that's really a job that doesn't allow you to live the life that you want, why are you doing that? It doesn't make any sense. So I love, Ryan, what you're saying. Let me ask you this question. What is because this is the name of the show is The Root of All Success. So what would you, in your own words, define that word success? What does that mean to you?
I think success can be many things. It doesn't need to be financial. There's plenty of very miserable, very successful people, right? Have a lot of money and just mess up their lives. And so I think it's really inner peace. I think there's a financial component too as well. I think, when I think of success, I do think of, financial freedom. I also think of like inner peace, where you're comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable in your own skin. You've got a family that loves you, or a boyfriend or girlfriend or extended family, whatever, family that loves you, and that you're having fun. Use that word again. And then I think impact too, where it's not just about you. You are. And it could be just one person. Doesn't mean you have to have like this huge tribe that you're impacting, but you're intentional about the impact you're trying to have. And so to me, it's like it's not just one thing. I think there's a few things that I just described. To me, that's success.
Based on that definition, which I like, by the way, do you consider yourself to be a successful person?
I do check off all those boxes, and maybe this is like the personal growth thing in me. I feel like I got a ways to go, like I'm not fully there yet. It's, I've got a lot of different seasons coming up with the kids getting older and college and their careers, and then, empty nest. And so I've got these different things coming up, and, but I do focus on all those things I said. And so I do think I'm successful, and I'm proud of where I've gotten to today. But I don't think I'm there yet. I think I acknowledge what I've accomplished. I'm grateful for what I've accomplished. I've worked hard, but I have more to do. So,
well, when did you enter the realm of success? Like when, and I mean, there was probably a moment at which you were like, wait a minute, you the things you listed: financial freedom, inner peace, fun, and impact. There was probably a moment in your life you were like being self-aware. Hey, I'm a successful person. When did that happen?
I think the last 5 years. Good question. I've never been asked that before. I'm trying to give you a good answer. I mean, I've had if I think back to the affiliate marketing days, and I built and sold a website selling piano lamps, starting the digital division of Ballantine. I've had these moments where, hey, that was kind of cool. A lot of challenges too. Like you mentioned, real estate investor. We've owned some homes, and we've gotten through some just horrible challenges with those things, like mold and ceilings collapsing, and we handled it. We got through it. And I was like, that's kind of cool. That probably would have crippled me 10 years ago, and I was able to handle it. But I would say the last 5 years I've become, and maybe it's because honestly, Morning Upgrade, it's forcing me to become more intentional and more aware of myself and what I'm doing and what I'm not doing, because I have the book and I've got the people I speak to like you and stuff like that. And so I would say the last 5 years, I've started to become just more aware of what I've accomplished, and what I shouldn't say what I've accomplished, what we've accomplished.
What do you think the success secret is for you? Like what did you have access to? What did you do? What luck did you stumble into? Like what was the root of your success? What was the secret? What allowed you to get to that place of financial freedom and inner peace and fun and impact?
Yeah, I would say for sure, because I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world. I mean, I'm decently smart, but if you look at my grades, I guess. I would say for me, it's definitely the persistency and consistency. I just keep going, I don't know what it is. I'm not that I don't get into funks to get down and get bothered by challenges. I do. I mean, that's why I do personal development so much, but I just keep going. I mean, I think, it's really started from college, just keep going because I like this stuff. And so I think it's definitely the persistency and the willpower, I think too. I read an article that willpower is more important than IQ. And I think the willpower and the persistency for sure.
Well, I think it's very interesting, Ryan, that you mentioned those things, because I was just the other day was I don't know if I can't remember if it was a conversation I was having or I was watching a video or what it was, but they were talking about that the intelligent are outperformed. And I'll finish this whole statement in a minute. The intelligent are outperformed. The more well-funded are outperformed. The more gifted are outperformed by those who are consistent.
Yeah. Have you read Darren Hardy's Compound Effect book?
No, I have not.
Yeah, Darren Hardy, it's called The Compound Effect. It's probably the book I recommend the most, but it basically summarizes what you just said there. It's the small decisions, the small wins, the small actions that you take compounded over time that usually create the most success. Not that you can hit a home run, a unicorn, but it's those small actions compounded over time that creates the most success. And that was like a big mindset shift for me, because I can see how that would work. I can buy into that. Like it seems like a doable plan for me, just trying to make small, consistent 1% gains every day. And so that book has been profound for me.
I'll have to look that up. I wrote that down. So it's Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of books. He's got a pretty successful business. He's kind of like a Jim Rohn. I think Jim Rohn was his mentor, and so he's got a lot of. If you like Jim Rohn, you'll like some of his stuff. But the book is very good. It's very easy to read. We read it at Ballantine in our book club, and everyone seemed to like it. Short read, 150 pages.
Okay, well, I'll have to take a look at that, because I do believe that consistent effort and consistent progress towards a goal is better than just being more intelligent, more gifted, more well-funded. I think that those things help, but if you're not willing to apply it, and your secret to success and how you become successful as an entrepreneur, as an author, as someone who's making an impact in the world, is because you've been consistent and persistent. And that has led you to your definition of success, which is financial freedom, and it's having inner peace, it's being able to have fun, and it's being able to make impact. And I think that's beautiful. I love that. So
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny. I think back. I appreciate you saying that. I can't think of one day where I haven't put a little bit of work into one of the businesses. And you might be like, "Wow, he sounds like a crazy person," but it's fun. And then it's also being aware of like making time for your friends and your family and trying to find that, not that balance exists, but that combination of things that fill your cup. And when you do that, when you get that right, it's a good spot to be in.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been a very, very good conversation, one that I'm glad that I was able to have with you. So I want to ask you to give some advice as we finish up our time together today on the show. So Ryan Cote, as you are talking to, all these entrepreneurs that are listening to The Root of All Success today, there's this spectrum. There's the people that are really early on the front end of entrepreneurship, and there's people that are very, very successful on the other end of the spectrum. So there's all the spectrum. But if you could speak to the first side of that, if you could say, hey, to these newer entrepreneurs, they're either just now getting started, or they haven't yet started. In your experience as someone who's successful, what advice would you give them?
I would say expect challenges, embrace them. And this is kind of going to be like a brain dump of stuff, but it's going to make sense, I think. So, don't give up, expect problems and deal with them. Don't run away from them, because they become like the screaming toddler. It just gets louder and louder. Like I mentioned before, build up your mental armor, and that could be the morning routine. Doesn't need to be. I'm not saying should. I don't want to should on anyone, but
that's good.
I got that from one of my masterminds, so I got to give credit to Tommy Breedlove from my masterminds. But I'm not shooting on you, but create some sort of habit, whether it's exercise or gratitude practice or morning routine, something that's going to build up your mental armor. Invest in yourself. It's the best investment you can make, and figure out what that looks like for you. But don't give up. There's going to be, what I found, there's ups and downs. I try to keep myself level on the ups, so I'm kind of level on the downs, and just know that this shall pass. If you're going through a challenge, just work through it. You'll get on the other side, and then win's right around the corner. And so whenever I've been in a situation where it's been really dark, there's been a gigantic win on the other end. And so just keep going and have fun too. Don't forget to have fun.
So if people want to reach out to you and they say, hey, I like this guy, I like his perspective, he's reasonable, he's successful, he's got a good definition of success, what's the best way for them to connect with Ryan Cote?
I mean, go to Morning Upgrade, morningupgrade.com. If you want to look at the marketing agency, that's ballantine.com. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Ryan Cote. I'm pretty visible, so you'll find me there.
All right, so it's morningupgrade.com, and it's Ryan Cote, and it's spelled C-O-T-E.
You got it.
RYANCOTE. For those that are listening in their cars, whatever you're doing, you're not seeing this, you're not watching this on YouTube. It's Ryan Cote, COTE. So look him up, folks. Good conversation, Ryan. Thank you so much for doing this today. Congratulations on your success, and I wish you much success in helping people with their morning upgrade. Because while I'm not a routine person, I completely and 100% appreciate what you're doing, and I think that what you're teaching is phenomenal. And I love the perspective that you've got. So, man, congratulations, and thanks for being on the show with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You did a great job, Jason. Appreciate you.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another successful entrepreneur about his journey to success. And what's interesting about his journey to success, if you listened very carefully, you notice that Ryan talked about lifestyle design and making sure that you could have fun. As a matter of fact, when he gave his definition of success, he talked about the success to him is not only financial freedom and inner peace and impact, but he wants to have fun. And we talked a lot about that fun, that word fun today. Well, I ask people a lot when I'm doing public speaking or in social media, when I'm interacting with potential people who are potentially interested in what I do as a business coach. I ask a question, various versions of this question, like, hey, 1 means it sucks and 10 is absolutely ideal. What's your business providing you in life right now? Is it ideally providing you what you really like? So I want to ask you that question, listener. So as an entrepreneur, 1 means terrible and 10 is absolutely perfect. The business that you own and run, is it providing, what number are you on that scale? And if you're not a 10, my question back to you would be, well, what would it take to make it a 10? How do you get to that life that you want? How do you get to the lifestyle that you desire? See, so many entrepreneurs, we talked about this with Ryan today on the show. So many entrepreneurs work with this hopes of one day exiting the business with this huge paycheck so that they can finally live the life that they want. Well, that's you don't have to do that. It's the same thing as, why would you work 40 years as an employee just to take 10 years of retirement somewhere? Like, why can't you build and design a life that allows you to live what you want, the way you want to live today? And that's, as a matter of fact, what I do every day as a business coach. And I want to finish the show out today by offering you something. I have just spent a lot of time and energy and money developing an exit timeline evaluation tool. And you can go to therealjasonduncan.com/am I ready. It's therealjasonduncan.com/am I ready. And when you get there, if you're interested, you can purchase the opportunity to take this timeline evaluator, which is a full deep dive into where you're at. How quick can you get to the lifestyle that you truly want? And so the questions have been curated and designed so that my team and I can take a look at that and give you some coaching on the back end. So you get some coaching with that timeline evaluation tool to say, listen, this is how close you are to being able to live that life that you want to get you to the 10. And these are the steps that you're going to need to take to get there. And there may be a recommendation to get involved in a coaching program or a mastermind, or it may say, hey, all you need to do is X, Y, and Z. You can execute that on your own. Wouldn't you want to know that? Don't you want to get to that fun, impactful life, the inner peace and the financial freedom that Ryan talked about on the show today? Well, go to therealjasonduncan.com/am I ready and see for yourself. Are you ready to live the exit lifestyle? Please tune in again next week where we talk yet again to another very successful entrepreneur about his or her journey to success. Until then, I'm the real Jason Duncan, and Jesus is King.
Thank you for listening to another edition of The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, we invite you to visit therootofallsuccess.com to access the show notes and other helpful resources. Take charge of your business. Grow it from great to incredible. Join us again next time here on The Root of All Success.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.